Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Catherine Walters, and I'm the Joy Coach. And I'm so thrilled that you're here for this Stress Free You Summit because for this series, I've invited 20, actually more than 22, of the most amazing speakers to talk with you about stress. It's a topic where it's in our minds every day. And they have brought their tools, their strategies, their techniques that won't take you a lot of time to implement so that you'll be able to feel better and feel stress-free in each moment to moment. And I'm thoroughly delighted to have as my guest today, Terri Britt. Now, Terri you may recognize her. She's a former Miss USA, and she has been enlightening and empowering women to take back their authority for their lives. And she's been doing this for nearly 2 decades. Okay, it doesn't look like it, but she has. Okay, she's an inspirational speaker, a love expert, an energetic healer, and a change agent for women. I love that. As well as being a wife, a mom, a stepmom, and a former entertainment news anchor. She's a busy lady. She's also the award-winning author of The Enlightened Mom, and her newest book is called Women Leaders of Love. Fabulous. Oh, Terri, it's such a thrill. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And I was thinking if I got really close to the camera, you might see that I've had 20 years of doing this stuff.
Oh yeah, they're there. You like try and get rid of it, whatever. So yeah, you just gotta laugh, right? And of course, they're all deserved because it's just because of all the wonderful facial expressions we've had. So Terri, before we got on the call, we had a bunch of questions. We just I don't know if we'll totally throw them out, but we were both talking about how, quote, stressed we were in our day-to-day before we even got on the call, and what we did to like bring ourselves so that I'm not particularly feeling stressed right now. I'm feeling actually really happy because you're here. But what did you do? Tell us about how you handle stress in your life.
Well, it depends on if it's just a momentary stress, like there was a lot going on with my work today, and I had 45 minutes to take a shower and put on my hair and face because otherwise I was going to be in yoga gear and no makeup or anything here. So I had to put some little eyes on, right? But for me, it's really about in that moment of recognizing that I'm moving quickly, is recognizing that I am enough. And used to where I didn't allow myself to go back to that grounded space was when I didn't recognize that I was enough. But I know that what I'm doing here is my calling. It's in my heart. I feel so connected to who I am. So I feel enough. And I know that whatever shows up right here, it's enough. And that's how I get back to center.
Oh, I love that. And that's so important because it's exactly what it is that throws us off because we're trying to do so much and we think, oh, I'm not enough because I can't do it all.
Right.
And
right.
so coming back to
the future about what could happen, the what ifs, what could go wrong. And they're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle it? It's like, bring it on. Whatever comes, I can handle it, man. I can handle it.
And that's a fabulous, I love it. It's like the mantra too, but notice as though we were both said, but we're laughing and it's like, I can handle it, bring it on. And that's such an empowering stand to take. No wonder you take a stand. You are a change agent for women.
Well, you know what I feel, Catherine? I feel that I have tools now. I have tools that I didn't used to have. And I felt I had to handle everything on my own. Now I know the universe has my back. The universe is here to support me. And the biggest thing that I can do is to open up and receive it. So if I stay in a contracted state where I'm in fear and going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, then things are going to feel hard because I am shut down to receiving the help from the universe. Right. But if I'm in a state of openness going, okay, let's bring it on. I can handle this. I'm open. I'm receptive. I know I'm enough. And then boom, whatever help I need shows up. And then the key is to laugh at it, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it really is because if you don't start laughing, because then laughter takes its power away.
Yeah, it's like we're so serious. Let's stop being serious. But you know what? I wasn't always full of laughter. I used to be a very serious person. And luckily I had a high school teacher who said, you need to learn to laugh at yourself. And I started chipping away at that. And now, I my husband says, you are the weirdest woman I know because I I'm always doing weird crap, right? And but it's life is too short for us not to have fun. And yes, I have my moments of seriousness. I have my moments of tears. It's not all perfect. But the thing is that I know in those moments that there's a gift in it. And so I always look for that gift. And the gift is to say, how can I go back to that joyful place that I am in? And if I'm not in that joyful place, then I need to do some inner healing work. I need to be looking at myself and asking, what's the belief inside of me that's causing me to react like this in the first place? So I've done enough of that. I've done enough of that clearing that I'm in a space that, wow, I feel really good about my life.
And that's awesome. But going back to that, looking at that belief, because a lot of many times it goes back to, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not deserving, that same old program that we all have. And that causes us stress.
It does cause us stress. And so for me, the way that I've gotten rid of those beliefs, and I know everybody's talking about beliefs and clearing them out, but it really is, Catherine, the most important thing we can do.
Absolutely.
It is our beliefs about that we're not enough, or that that there's something wrong with us, that keeps us disconnected from who we are. Yes. And it is that disconnect that creates the feelings of lack. We think other people are doing it to us, but it is the disconnect from not standing in our truths, or if we're trying to stand in our truth that we still have guilt or judgment about it, that will keep us in a space of lack. The only way to heal that lack and those feelings of not being enough is to say, I am standing in my truth. I'm going to love and honor the way I was created. And for me, quite honestly, that's about putting God first. And so everything in my life is about putting God first. Some people might say, well, that sounds selfish because you're saying, honor and love the way you were created. I'm going, of course, why wouldn't I honor and love the way I was created? We're all created to be unique individuals. And the more I can own and embrace that and quit disconnecting from that truth, then I'm going to be joyful. And that's what's brought me my joy. And I really want to impress this upon everybody. Ladies, all those of you that are listening, I'm going to talk straight to you. If you are feeling not enough, you are in lack, it is because you're doing it to yourself.
Yes.
No one's doing it to you. You're doing it to yourself. You're staying in a space of disconnect from who you are and the way you were created. Your main number one goal has got to be to connect to who you are and the way you were created, which is unconditional love. You've got to take a stand for loving yourself first, because that's where you're going to feel enough, you're going to feel joyful, you're going to feel playful, and then you're going to be that example for the people around you.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's my same message as well. And it's that piece of you've got to take care of yourself first. You have to fill yourself up. So Terri, what are some of the ways that you do that?
Well, first up is recognizing about energy and vibration, because when we are disconnected, we're going to feel negative, we're going to feel painful, and we're going to be at a low vibration, so things feel hard. So what I do is I pay attention to my feelings. I pay attention to what's going on around me. If I am not in a joyful place, I know that is my first clue. Stop. You are not connected. And get connected, whatever way it means. If it means that I'm doing something that isn't ringing true for me, to just stop my action. If I am feeling sad and down about something in my life, then to say, what is the gift? What is this trying to take me to loving myself? How can I love myself in this moment? Another thing that I do is I recognize that if I am in a disconnect, I'm probably performing. I'm probably acting a certain way, doing things a certain way that I think I should do rather than loving myself. Mm-hmm. And I recognize it as, that's performing. I don't do performing anymore, because performing is punishment, right?
Right. Absolutely. You're not being yourself. You're putting on. Yeah, you're putting on a show.
Exactly.
You're disconnected from yourself.
Yes. And so if I'm in that punishment energy, of that performing energy, I am in disconnect. So it's recognizing all of these things that say, I am in disconnect. How do I connect?
Right. And that's really literally what stress is. It's like stress is showing us you're like, I'm disconnected. I'm stressed because I'm not connected to myself.
Exactly. And it was so funny, but my husband used to say to me, you're not connected, go meditate, get connected. Because he could tell. He could see it in me if I was feeling frazzled or irritable, if I felt really emotional. He could sense it immediately and say, honey, you need to go get connected. Whatever that is for you, go meditate, go take a walk, whatever, get connected. So if there's nothing else that you can do, and if you don't have time to do all the inner work and do the beliefs and go in and clean out the beliefs that are causing your disconnect, at least say to yourself in every moment, oh, this doesn't feel connected. This is not feeling joyful. This is not feeling happy. This is not feeling peaceful. What can I do in this moment to create that feeling by connecting to my heart, to who I am? If you can do nothing else than that, do that.
Oh, that is so important. It's like, what, repeat that, please. What's that question folks need to remember to say? What can I do in this moment to connect with myself?
Yes, what can I do in this moment to connect? If I am feeling anything but joy, but peace, but passion, but playfulness, the things, whatever you're searching for, if I am not feeling it, it's because I'm disconnected.
Yes.
What can I do in this moment to connect? In that connection, this is what's so cool. In the connection is where we find peace.
Right.
In the connection is where we find joy, where we go into trust. So now we're not stressed as much because we're in a space of, oh, I am enough. Everything is okay. It's just like what I was talking about earlier. I'm in this space of connectedness, so I can trust that whatever shows up is okay. So the reason you want to do it, if for nothing else, is to say, I want peace in my life.
Absolutely.
I want to be more playful. I want to trust that everything is okay. I want to know that I'm enough and that I can have fun in life, and I can know that all my needs are met. Because this is what happens, is when we will move into that connected space, asking, why am I disconnected? Or just simply, how do I connect? And then we move into that connected space and we stand in it. We actually move into a high vibration.
Oh, yeah.
And in this high vibration is where we attract things of high vibration, because like attracts like. And so now life gets easier. We start to get grounded and anchored in trust, knowing that, yes, as I love and honor myself, letting go of any guilt, that the things that I need are going to show up. And that's the beauty of this. So if you just take tiny steps right now saying, how can I connect? How can I move into unconditional love? Because that's what connection is. Then you're going to see that that's where the joy is, and that's where you attract abundance.
Exactly. And it's really, you're talking about that inner work, but they're just simple questions that in that moment when we're stressed or like, when a freak out, it's like, it's like, take a moment to just breathe and ask yourself those questions and connect back to yourself, connect back to your inner self and to that higher being that you are as well, and find out, what do I need that's going to bring me peace or joy or happiness or make me smile right now? And do that instead of going down that rabbit hole or following that loop where you talk about the hamster wheel too as well, where you're just going spinning around and around and around, staying in that stressful point. But Terri, it seems to me like more and more people, and I'm sure you see many women and everyone really, where even children, where we're just getting, people are more stressed. They're taking on more, and it's almost like we compare. We feel more important, let's say, the more stress we have.
That's awful.
But you and I believe that's awful. We know, but it's still, have you ever, I've been at the gym and I'll hear women say, oh, I have this going on. No, I have that going on. And we kind of like one up each other, trying to see who has more stress. So,
I think people want people to feel sorry for them. They want to feel acknowledged that they're working hard enough. We've got this belief in our society that if I work really, really hard, then I'll get acknowledgement. I'll get the rewards. I'll get the love that I'm seeking. So because we're not finding it from that working ourselves to death and trying to get it right, we're all seeking that love. So let me tell you my sob story.
Exactly.
Wouldn't it be cooler for everybody to say, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with my life. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe the miracle that showed up today. I took time off and bang, something happened and showed up, and I can't even tell you how cool that is. Much more wonderful conversation.
Oh, absolutely, because you can just feel the energy in that. It brings everybody up, and I know I've done that, and it's like people look at me like, is she high on something? And it's like, but I feel so good that I can ignore it because I know that I'm in that joyful state, and I choose to be in that state.
Yeah.
So what else do you do, or what do you recommend that women do? Like, are there any other tips or tools or things that you recommend for women, especially women? Because I mean, they're just like, they're doing so much, and you know, you're a mom, you're a stepmom, you're a wife, and all that. So what do you do, like, to get back to your center? What do you do? Tell everybody to go away? I mean, I don't think you do that. So what do you?
I think, we have to do what we've always heard is doing boundaries, but let me teach you a little energetic tool that I love. Okay, because we've heard about creating boundaries, we've heard about speaking our voice, we've heard about all these things, but I love energetic tools because that's when we really get to shift who we are as far as bringing in light or shutting it down. And this is such a simple little tool, but I tell you, I do it all the time. So at the top of our head, we have our crown chakra, which is where we connect to our higher self. And one of the things that I recognize, if I am not in that loving, joyful place, like I said earlier, I may be in a contracted space, which is fear.
Right.
When I recognize that in myself, because of course we have to be in awareness. If we're going to do any shifting, we have to be in awareness of our life. 90% of the change is awareness.
Right.
But for me, what I do is when I'm in that contracted, fearful state, I literally visualize the crown of my head like a camera lens going whoop, and just opening up. Okay, so I'm here and I take a breath and go whoop, and I visualize it opening up and allow the light from my higher self and light from the universe to just flood through my body and to open up every cell of my body into a higher vibration, dumping out anything that I'm holding on to down through the bottom of my feet. And then I check in with my aura, which is our energy field around us. And I make sure that I'm centered in it. I'm arm's length in front of me, on either side of me, and behind me, above me, and below me. So it's like I'm sitting in this egg of energy. I allow that light to come through. I do this at stoplights. I do this at the grocery store, at the bank. I do it at my desk. I do it if I'm ready to go to bed at night. I will do it. I will open up and just clear out my energy that way. But mostly I do it is I've learned, and I've made it such a habit that sometimes if I'm in a stressful place, that's the first thing I check.
Wow.
That's the first thing. Because if we are shut down here, how are we going to receive information from our higher self? So if I'm recognizing, oh my gosh, I'm in my head, I have to surrender and open up to my higher self. I love that tool.
I love it.
Students that for 20 years. It was one of the first tools that I learned. Well, I actually learned about getting grounded, but that was one of the first baby tools going, just do that. But even in a space now, 20 years later, I still use it. I use it every single day. Well, and I look at people and I can see they're in their head, and I'll say, okay, do me a favor. I'll be talking to someone. I said, now just visualize this opening up and allow the light to come through, and just take a breath and breathe in. So what you're doing is you're getting centered, you're clearing out your energy, and you're raising your vibration so you can attract information. You can see with clear eyes.
Wow. I mean, look at that. I mean, you're centered, you're clearing your vibration, and you're bringing in a higher vibration. I mean, 3 in 1. How many times do we have something like, and yet most people it's like those energy tools are just so valuable. They seem so simple, and it's like, oh, blip them off. But they're actually, they're actually the most important tools we can use, because we are all energy, and when we can invite that higher energy into our being, there you go.
Yeah, that's the way I was trained 20 years ago. I was trained in an energy school, and no one was talking about the law of vibration. No one was talking about the law of attraction. I didn't hear anybody, at least it wasn't in my awareness. And I was living in Southern California, which is the melting pot for all of that information, right?
Exactly.
But I wasn't hearing it. I might have just been an idiot. I don't know. But anyway.
No, you were. It wasn't around. I don't think it was around then.
I don't know. I know people weren't really talking about it. But for me, that's the way I was trained. And so from the very get-go, from the moment I was in just meditation class, but we were running energy through us and opening up our crowns and checking in with our auras. That was the most dramatic change from me, because it was that bridge from being stressed to feeling centered and connected. So if I could give anybody that tool, if you don't have time to do any of the other work, this is where you start. But hopefully you get to a place where you do the inner work, because you want to look at your beliefs around, is it okay to be passionate? Is it okay to be playful? And the things that shut us down to having the life we want, those are the things we want to look at.
Right, definitely. But I love how this is so practical, and it's a great place for people to start, because when like you said, when we're disconnected or we're not centered, that's when the stress happens, because we're not connected to ourselves. Or if we're just totally in our heads, like many people, we're working with our technologies and all of that all the time, which is great. We need them. But if we're only in our heads, we're not allowing other insight, other energy to come into us. So by recentering, even in the middle of our workday, I would say, or anytime maybe you go back to sit, I'm just trying to be practical here because I'm always really practical. Like anytime you go back to sit in your chair, like after lunch or a break or something.
Yes, absolutely. Do it then. And I want to point out something too, Catherine, that you were saying we get in our heads. Our heads keep us in survival mode. Our hearts keep us in thrive mode, in love mode. Think of it as love mode. And if we're in love mode, that's where we're going to move to a higher vibration. So it's really important that we keep our focus on love mode. And how can I love myself so that I move into a high vibration, and which is moving into the heart space, which is your soul space. You're moving into the soul. It's not like we're sitting in our heart and like it's boom, 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 boom. We're sitting in the heart of who we are. And I think that's what we get so caught up in our heads that we don't realize that this is what's got us in that space, like you were talking about earlier, of we just keep working harder and harder and harder. It's our heads that are keeping us there. And it is only by dropping down into our hearts, and then even deeper down into our body, by embracing our humanness, embracing all the things that we crave, that maybe we judge or we haven't given ourselves permission to. That's how we become master manifestors of peace and joy. But we got to start here and then move down.
Right. And it's also an important thing too, because when we're stressed, what we often want to do is like get out of our body or go have that fix, our quote drug of choice, whether it's retail therapy or whatever, so we don't feel the pain. But what you're saying is exactly the opposite.
Exactly. You want to go into that feeling and that connection. I mean, I'm not a shopper. But say, for instance, yesterday, I have a lot going on in my plate, but I needed a day out of my office. So I said to my husband, because we have a coffee company, and he has a lot going on too. We both have a lot going on. And I said, how can I serve you today? Let me run some errands for you. I want to just get some stuff done for you. But what was so cool about that is that I knew in going and doing some of the things that he needed to get done, that there was a lot of drive time. And so I just went quiet.
Oh.
I turned off my radio. If I felt like I wanted to turn it on, I'd turn it on for a minute. But then I'd turn it back off, and I would just breathe, and I would just allow my mind to wander and daydream. And I got hits on things that were helpful to me. So sometimes it can be that creative space, but if we're just going to shop just to fill ourselves up, or if we're doing things to escape, then we have to pay attention. Sometimes it's fun to escape,
Sure.
But not all the time.
Right, exactly. And especially and sometimes we need that, but then we do have to come back, as you said, back to our center and also into our bodies.
Yes. When I was a kid, I don't remember a lot of my childhood, and I finally realized one day what it was is because I had left my body.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And now I recognize at times that I still do it at moments. I remember years ago working in my daughter's first grade class. She's now in her 20s. This was many years ago. There was a little boy who, talk about stress, was diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. So every week they had word rings that they'd have a spelling test, and if they didn't get the words, they'd make him put them on their rings, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he was one that nobody wanted to work with because he always had like 15 words on his ring. It was really, really tough, and he wouldn't pay attention. For whatever reason, that particular day that I was going in, I had a feeling I was going to be working with this child. And so I prayed for patience. I went in, and of course, he was the only kid who had not been checked off, so I had to do that. Well, I was watching him intuitively, okay? So I'm watching him, and as I'm trying to get him to spell the words, he's leaving his body, okay? And I said to him very clearly, come back in your body. I want to work with you, but if you're not willing to come back, I'm going to have you go back to your seat. He came back, would spell the word perfectly. Go back up, I'd say, come back. We did this about 15 times. He spelled every single word that day. Every single word. That classroom was a very, very stressful environment, right? Because he didn't fit,
Right.
especially back then.
Oh, sure, of course, absolutely.
Very antiquated back then. And the teacher did not know how to handle it. But to be able to look at him and tell him, oh, I was literally telling him, open up and come back in. Kind of what I was talking about earlier. Come back in and get in your body. Open up your crown. And he did. And that day, what was so cool about it? Oh, this was the coolest thing. I didn't know it until after we were done, and it was his birthday. We were able to say, he got all of the words today, all 15. The teacher was like this, the kids were like this, and he was just beaming. But it was that simple message of come back.
And I'm so glad we're emphasizing this, Terri, because many of us, we don't even know that we're out of our body. And like even with all of our technologies, I mean, we're with those, and they're fine, but it takes us out of our body. It takes us out of being with our heart space. And so no wonder we're disconnected, and then no wonder we're stressed.
Right. So that's another good tool that people can check in with them. Am I in my body? I know I ran into a woman at a bookstore recently, and we just started talking. We met immediately. She said something, and I could see that her aura was up at her knees rather than under her feet and all the way around her like an egg of energy. And I just looked at her and I said, well, your aura is up at your knees. Why don't you pull it down? She goes, oh, thank you. I didn't even realize it. And she says, is it coming down now? Is it coming down? I said, yeah, it's coming down now. It's coming down now. She's like, oh. And then we ended up spending the whole afternoon and evening, went to dinner with my girlfriend and her. I mean, we just made this great connection. It was so much fun. But it started with that conversation of she wasn't fully in her body. And a way to check in is just to say, okay, am I in my aura? Is my aura up? Is it down below my feet? Is it projected in front of me, behind of me? How do I get centered? And just say it. I am centered in it. I am centered in this energy field. I'm centered in my aura. And just breathe into it. That will also help you move out of stress.
Yeah. And that is, again, it's a simple tool, another energy tool that's really valuable because people, we think it's all woo-woo, but many people think it's all woo, and it's not, because you can literally see the aura. And if you're centered in it, there's such peace inside of it.
Oh my goodness. I cannot tell you how much peace I have found through doing this work. And if somebody had told me that I was going to be doing energy work, it just blows my mind. Can I tell you something? I just recently taught preachers how to do energy work.
Oh.
Isn't that the coolest thing?
That is very cool. Good. And good for them for being open to receiving it. That's awesome.
Yeah, they loved it. They were just so on fire about it.
Oh, you can see the world is changing, because even in our conversation today, even when we did the summit a few months earlier this year, I don't think this conversation would have come up. So it's with the energies on our planet are changing. There is more love. There's more receptivity to, this is a real way to help us with stress, which is like one of the number one problems in our world today, because it creates so many more health issues and every other type of issue.
Right. And I know Bruce Lipton writes in Biology of Belief that 95% of our illnesses are stress related, and they're based on beliefs, false beliefs. So the false beliefs are the disconnect, right?
Right.
So we want to get to do I really believe, and how do I get into that connection? So that helps alleviate the stress, which then alleviates illness, hopefully down the line.
Absolutely. And again, these energy tools that you're sharing, like I know I do with Reiki as well, and it's another energy form, but it really does make a difference in that down the line, that preventative medicine, that, we have power.
Yes, we have power. And I think that's what we're missing. I find it so exciting right now, though, because energy is becoming more mainstream. And what I would say to all of you that are listening, I'm going to look straight at you right now rather than at Catherine, is that I want you to know that if you've had any fears about saying, oh, I'm into energy, or I like talking about energy, now is the time for you to be a pioneer. Because people need to hear it from you. They need to hear you talking about it so they know that it's safe, that they can start exploring. Because I think, Catherine, that this has been a real stigma in the past. And I know it was for me. I had huge judgment on myself because here I had these gifts about being able to read energy and move energy. And then I was told I was wrong, that I was playing with the devil and doing all this stuff. And it really created a lot of problems for me emotionally, physically.
Yep.
But I'm at a place in my life now that I know that it is the way. It is the way to de-stress, to be joyful, to be playful, to be happy, to be passionate, and to have the things you want in your life to show up.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, it's like we talk about, when we're exhausted and we're depleted. What is it? It's like it's our energy. We're talking about ourselves not having energy. And so you've shared these fabulous tips and tools where people can get their energy, their vitality, and literally their life force back.
Right. There's a quote that I have in The Enlightened Mom, my book. That was my second book. I have Message Sent in The Enlightened Mom. It says it's not what we do for it's not what we do for our families, but how we live our lives that affect them the most. But the one that I was thinking about is it's not what you're doing for others that makes you tired. It's what you're not doing for yourself that exhausts you.
Exactly.
What you're not doing for yourself is you're not keeping your vibration high. You're not being just in a connected space where your vibration is high and you're joyful.
Absolutely. And that's the key thing is part of this is we're talking about women, people who have burnout. And that's exactly what it is they just depleted they haven't been giving to themselves.
Exactly. And because when we give and give and give, we are coming from a space, you have to ask, why am I giving so much?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's that performance energy again, because really, I've been watching this for 20 years and watched my own life and a lot of women that I've worked with is we give so much because we want to be loved.
Yep.
Right. We're performing.
Yep.
We like to think that it's a selfless act, but really most often it's selfish.
Totally.
Because craving for somebody to acknowledge us, to love us, to tell us we're okay. And just think how much more you can give if you're in a connected space so that you don't have to seek that. And then if it comes, it's icing on the cake.
Exactly. And that's exactly. But it comes back to that self-love and but it's even more than that. It's that self-connection because that's where the self-love is.
Yeah. And for me, it's really about that God connection.
Oh,
it's
true.
like connection to source, to light, to love, to all those high vibrations. It's when I'm in that connected space, like right now, I love this.
Oh, you are in that connected space.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, woohoo, this is fun.
Well,
I get that same feeling when I go outside and walk in the trees because I live up in the mountains. When I'm talking to people, when I'm doing healing work, when just being with my husband, with my dogs, I feel that connected space. It's when I go into my head and start projecting about, oh my gosh, what do I got to do? What do I, this, rather than trusting is when I go into disconnect.
Absolutely. Oh, definitely. And I really thank you for sharing that so that you really broke it down. This is where I'm in disconnect. And then you've already shared so many tools on how people can go back to being connected with themselves. So Terri, we could go on and on forever, but we unfortunately don't have the time. We'll do it another time. But tell it, you have a wonderful gift for everyone. So please share what you have for them.
Well, it's called the Worthiness Quotient Breakthrough Bundle, and I'm really excited about this because the Worthiness Quotient is how open you are to receiving love, support, and nurturing from the universe, because most of us are not open. And so in this bundle is Women Leaders of Love ebook. It was a divine download. I started to write it one day. I was like, this isn't working. And the next day I called in Archangel Michael and I felt this energy just go through me. It's like, whoa, and I got up and started writing, and that week it was finished. So it is, the tagline kind of explains it. It's, God, I just went blank. Women Leaders of Love. You have it in front of you. Why am I going?
I will repeat it for you. Okay, I have it. Okay, here you go. And you can repeat it, then I'll share it. How to end the number one massive mistake women make and unleash your greatest acts of service.
Yes, how to unleash how to end the number one massive mistake women make and unleash your greatest act of service. This is a fairly new ebook, as you can imagine. And,
it's a long title.
It's a long time. It is, but it's the subtitle is really important because we women do we do things that we think are loving, kind of like what we were talking about a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
We think being good and doing it right is loving. It's like good equals love. And that is the number one massive mistake. I'll just share with you what it is. We think that being good is loving, but in essence, it is the absolute worst thing we can do. And I explain to you in the book, energetically, what it is, why it's not good, and how to shift it. And so when we move into honoring and loving in that connected space we were talking about earlier, we actually become women leaders of love and become an example for others to watch us and learn. As I said earlier, it's not what we do for others, but how we live our lives that impacts them the most. So that's first part of it. Now that we have the name down, gosh, you can tell this is a new ebook. And then there's 3 meditations that go with it. And the 3 meditations are vision, truth, and purpose. And what's so cool about it, it's about you getting a vision of what would make you joyful and playful and all that good stuff, and then your truth. And then the purpose is I take you through a meditation so that you can look at other people's spirits to see what gift you're giving them by following your truth. So it's a really cool, intuitive type of practice that I'm teaching you. Mm-hmm. It is so, so awesome. So the way you get it is terribritt.com/leaders for women leaders of love. So terribritt.com, TerriBritt.com/leaders. And that's how you can get the Worthiness Quotient Breakthrough Bundle.
Oh, awesome. Terri, that is absolutely fabulous. Will you repeat, because our connection was just a little funky, you know what I'm saying? So what are the titles of the 3 meditations?
Their vision, like having a vision for yourself, and then truth, showing you how to move into your truth, and then purpose, which I love. This is my favorite part. I mean, all 3 of them are very powerful. I just had someone write me and say, oh my gosh, these meditations were incredible. The purpose one is so fun because I take you through a meditation to look at people's spirits to see what gift you're giving them by standing in your truth, by really following your heart, which most of us, that's one of the reasons that we don't follow our hearts and we stay in disconnect because we're worried about everyone else because we're being good girls, right?
Exactly.
And so I'm showing you why you don't want to do that and the gift you're giving to others by doing this meditation.
Oh, awesome. Beautiful. Terri, thank you again. I mean, this is just a joy. It's an absolute joy to spend time with you. And everyone, I know you can just feel the divine energy just coming through her, that even at times the light would shine on you. And you could just feel that was really, I'm serious. It was just like
I have lights over here doing that. I have a camera guy over here doing the lights.
No, Terri, you really don't. You really didn't. Okay, we know that. So let yourself take the credit for being such a receiver for the divine, because you truly are. And everyone, thank you for being here. I know, come back and listen to this recording. And so many blessings to all of you. We'll be back again really soon. Namaste.
Bye, everybody.